That is my goal. That's my focus. What is your focus today? What do you do that would, okay, so let's clear the throat. Let's get to some truth here. What do you do that would be continued, to be continued, that you don't want to continue in the next chapter of your life or the next book of your life? What are you currently doing? And it doesn't have to be a gigantic thing that if you were to share it, people would be like, oh my God. You know, it could literally be a coffee addiction that isn't serving you anymore. It actually tired, like if I'm looking at myself, I see these, I'm tired. Why am I tired? Because I'm not drinking coffee and how I would normally drink it. So my body is like, oh, excuse me, hello. And even though it doesn't feel good, eventually it wants to bounce back into a space and place that it's producing its own rhythm, its own homeostasis. But there is a little bit of a buffer state that we all have to go through when we're removing something that has been tricking our body to act a certain way. So what are you doing that you maybe are considering might not be in your next chapter, in your, let's just say your next book. I don't want to say chapter because if I say that, then that gets my mind to think same story. Good morning, Sue. Same story, and that would be 3D. That would be old templates. That would be old matrixing. That would be karma. And I want to say new book. Like did you see I just took a deep breath in? We're gonna breathe some fresh air. Good morning, Craig. We're gonna breathe some fresh air and put ourselves into a new book. And that's Dharma, that's creation. So what are you being asked to remove so you don't waste that creation energy trying to break it down? Because eventually it's gonna go anyways. So why not get it to go sooner than later so you can get on the path that you don't even mind that that's gone anymore. It doesn't matter. And it's not that big of a deal. In the realm of what I have removed from my life, coffee is a very minor inconvenience. I'm certainly capable of doing it. And if you think about things that maybe you have either had removed or maybe you chose to remove, whatever you're working with right now might be a little thing, but hell, maybe you're in the hell vibration, you're burning shit out, and maybe it's not a little thing. Let's talk about that a little bit. Addiction is AI. It's a program that we came in here to burn through. Now, whether we did that for our own soul, which is going to always be, or for the collective soul, which is going to always be, but they'll be on different levels that we'll be consciously aware of it, or maybe it's for your bloodline. So it's learning to eject that program. But first you have to get to a space and place that you don't want it. Hi, good morning, Ted. As long as you want it, even as an addiction therapist many, many moons ago, I'm sure that there are many things that are different about the therapies now when it comes to just getting on a walk of life that's healthy. But I used to share with clients, and myself for that matter. Clearly I shared it with myself because I was on a long roll with alcohol. If you want to do it, do it. You're wasting your time. You're wasting your time trying to not do it when you still want to do it. One of the things that we find in, I'm going to say early recovery. That's not really my terminology because that says that there was something wrong with you. Where I just see it as a chunk of tar that you came into this lifetime saying, okay, what am I going to make with this? But first I got to play with it. I got to get dirty in it. But let's just use recovery. When you really honestly, like I think about my experience in recovery. Good morning. I think your name is Sia? Good morning. I had many attempts to realign myself with my true energy and my true way of wanting to live and experience life. But when I was finally ready, there was, like, I heard it in me. There was a voice in me that said, we're done. I don't want this anymore. And it wasn't because it was ruining myself. It wasn't because it was ruining my family. It wasn't because then society thought I was a bad woman. I was a bad whatever I was doing. No, it had nothing to do with that. When I was caught up in what others thought about that, or what society, the program had placed upon my ideas about being an alcoholic, I continued the cycle. No matter how painful that was. I think about my children. Man, that was painful to be shamed in my own state. Not from them. They were in pain. But to be shamed for what I was doing to them as a result of my choices. But I still continued the cycle because it was about them. And it was something I was learning, to stop going out here for reassurance, for support, for connection, for reason, for love. Ooh, look at that pink from my lamp in the back. Kind of looks like a crescent moon a little bit, but a pink thing of consciousness. Let's bring this pink consciousness in. Connected it with our throat chakra, because this is true. That when I got to a point that I was concerned about what I thought, what I was feeling, how I believed my life to be, and what I wanted to experience, what I didn't want to experience, I felt broken, I was just exhausted. When I got to here's a spoiler alert, when I got to a point that all I was doing was drinking and passing out. Eventually you come to the understanding that that's not very fun anymore. So when you think about something that maybe you've experienced or that you're experiencing currently, because addictions are a great boost into the next state of consciousness, you got to move through it. When you think about that, maybe it's an addiction to a person. Many, a large percent of humanity come in with that program. Addicted to love that's not reciprocated. Or it's reciprocated love is always reciprocated, but it's reciprocated in the underbelly of it, which looks dirty. What are you doing that's helping you return back to yourself, so that energetic connection can resolve itself? You will not resolve it when you are doing things to appease the outside of you. You will not. You will not. You will continue until I remember even someone that was treating me horribly, and I'm sure he had it in his own mind that it was for his own favor, but I remember one thing that he said to me. He said, "Are you done yet, Jess?" And I remember in my mind, I was thinking, like, what? You're the person that's doing all this stuff. But I was still poking. I was still going back. I was going back. So that was actually a favor when he said that to me. Are you done yet, Jess? I had to think about that. Like, first of all, what am I done with? What is he talking about? And maybe that has nothing to do with me. Can I sort through that and separate his own shit? And can I actually just take those words? Because my guidance was working through those words because it caught my attention. And eventually I was able to switch that saying back to myself and ask myself, am I done? Am I done with this? Have I had enough? Am I ready to put that pathetic piece down? And I can say pathetic piece and laugh about it, not like be shamed about it. At first I could not say that. So don't say that until you're ready to use that language. Maybe you need a much gentler language in the beginning. Can I put that vulnerability down? And when I did, I began to make progress in a very deliberate but very expansive and very quick way. 3 months. It took me 3 months. I think I was in the addiction cycle for many years, but the bad part, like the non-functioning, you weren't going to convince anyone that that was okay for about 3. That quickly changed because I decided I had enough. I had enough. So let's pull one card from this twin flame ascension, but we're going to use it as our masculine and our feminine energy. And then after I'm done, I'm going to go over to the subscribers page and finish the reading. Oh, that was fast. The electric, beyond illusion, and heal abandonment. Healing separation. Wow, okay. Are we going to heal the separation from me learning to wake up on my own? Ooh, I want to talk about that the next time I come on. Like, we are quantumly, good morning, Ashley. We are Klonopin. Ooh, that's a drug that you give schizophrenia. Okay, whoa, wee, let's get back here. I want to talk about how just on a cellularly level, that was hard for me to say, cellularly level, we reach out to connect with the opposite, good morning, the opposite charge. We're magnets. So no matter what, we're always going to be doing that. We're just in a more connected consciousness. We are understanding that what we're bringing towards us, what we're connecting to, will come towards us when we're ready. We don't have to go, okay, they're just asking me to move out of that conversation. That will lead me down a path that we're going to be talking for a while. So we'll come back to that, just recognizing that we are constantly bringing things that are on the opposite charge towards us, constantly. It's not even like there's anything wrong with that. It's just learning how to work with that element so that we feel good. So it serves us. It doesn't disarmor us. Thanks, Ashley. Like a little blankie keeping me warm. So for you that's listening right now, consider these cards: healing abandonment and healing separation. What are you healing? Did you abandon yourself? If you're at a state and place of change, you're going to find that it always ends up with you. That you have chosen these paths to show you something about yourself. And sometimes we got to go down those dark alleys. It's part of the lesson. But let's get out of the book of karma. Let's get over into dharma. So if you're still in karma, which many of you are, then take a peek at that lesson. Good morning, Shannon. Take a peek at that lesson. Allow yourself to get honest with it so that you can see beyond the illusion that it's this other person, this substance, this place, this community. Hey. And you can get it back to you. You can bring it back to you. So you can decide what you want to do. You can take yourself out of the circus. But often that's, this last card, the electric, you get shocked. That's a painful experience. I remember when I was releasing from many very ugly cycles, there was many points that I had to blame it on something else than myself. Because part of the release is seeing the victimization of it. And that's not to say like to call yourself a victim, because that's the other thing that ends up happening. Like the victim stance then comes in, and like you don't want to get caught up in that, but you have to go there. You have to see yourself as someone that has been wrongly done to. That you no matter what, you didn't deserve that. And then after you're able to see that and see the truth, not the blame of it, but just see the destruction of what it's created for you and how you feel and how you think about yourself. But then to pull out of that and see that, well, why was I walking towards that? What about me was I seeking to connect with that? Because remember, you're the connector. You're pulling that towards you. So what is asking from within me to be looked at, to be healed, to be nurtured, to be retaught? Because often this stuff is taught through bloodline. It's karmic cycles. And so you can really get to the nitty gritty of what's going on. But during that process, man, you're going to get shocked. And it's important to get shocked, because if it's something that is not so great, you need to feel that shit so that you can be like, oh yeah, that's why I don't like that. Yeah, no, that doesn't feel good. And it can bring like some clarity. It can get all that language out of your head for a second when you get like this, and you can be like, why the hell am I doing this? You can actually hear yourself. Because remember, who's talking in that head of yours if you're listening? You can't be the talker and the listener at the same time, or can you? But let's connect that. That's your guidance. Now, it can be your underbelly guidance that people consider ego. I call personality. It's who you chose to come in here with. That's you. That's the little me, your buddy in the dark. That's you. So don't try to be kicking ego. Help that part of you understand the truth that you have will. That's the part that's learning to create will for yourself. But then it's also the higher guidance and the supports that you see as guides or source or angelics or elementals, whatever you see them as. But they're talking. That's what's going on in your head all the time. So pay attention. All right, so I'm going to go over to the subscribers page, and I will see all of you in a minute, or some of you in a minute. Bye. Have a great